Hi and welcome to another spicy gaming video. Today I will be reviewing our latest game of the month, a beautiful visual novel game called The Entrepreneur. The Entrepreneur is a visual novel that centers around building relationships while balancing the intricacies of budding business. Excellent renders and animations, the game captivates with a compelling story. The story starts off strong, setting up a protagonist who's living behind a frat-boy lifestyle to open a bar. What's initially a fresh start soon becomes a journey of personal growth and complex relationships. The core of the game lies in the connections you build with four main love interests, each of whom brings something unique to the story. There's Laura, the headstrong yet compassionate woman who helps ground the story, Valentine, a social media star with bubbly personality, Alexa, a young actress in training, and Lucy, your childhood friend who's dealing with her own baggage. The game does an admirable job of fleshing out these characters, and their personal struggles add real depth to the narrative. The writing shines with snappy dialogue and smart character interactions that range from humorous to heartfelt. One of the highlights is how distinct each of the characters feels, with no one falling into tired stereotypes. The humor lands well, with a few cultural references sprinkled in for good measure. However, as the story progresses, it does lose a bit of its sharpness. The game's final chapters feel a little rushed, with the narrative threads not tied up as cleanly as one might hope. Still, the journey more than makes up for the slightly weak finish. As a visual novel, The Entrepreneur doesn't reinvent the wheel in terms of gameplay mechanics, but what it does well. The choices you make throughout the game are meaningful, with real consequences on how the story and relationships develop. Unlike some visual novels where your decisions feel inconsequential, here you actually feel the impact of your choices. One of the game's strengths is its pacing. At around 8 to 10 hours, The Entrepreneur doesn't outstay its welcome, which is a breath of fresh air in a genre where some games drag on unnecessarily. The branching paths also give it some decent replay value, as you'll want to go back and explore different routes. The gameplay may not be revolutionary, but it's streamlined, effective, and keeps the player engaged. Visually, The Entrepreneur is a top tier for a visual novel. The characters are unique and the level of detail is impressive. The renders are clean and realistic, with the character avoiding the overly polished plastic look that can plague some similar games. The animations are fully rendered, which helps the game stand out from the other titles that rely on static images or stop-motion techniques. From subtle facial expressions to more dynamic animations, the attention to detail is clear in this game. However, while the game's visual appeal is undeniable, the audio side of things is a mixed bag. The background music is serviceable, adding atmosphere to various scenes without standing out too much. For a game that does so well with its visual, the absence of sound in some of the moments feels like a missed opportunity to fully immerse the player. But then again, some play the games without the sound on. If you're diving into The Entrepreneur expecting an abundance of romantic moments, you might leave with mixed feelings. The game leans towards a more subtle approach to these elements, which could either charm or disappoint depending on your preferences. What's included is thoughtfully crafted and seamlessly woven into the story, but some players might feel it falls short, especially compared to other visual novels that brings these elements to the forefront. It's clear that the game prioritizes story and character development. The romantic content feels like a natural progression of the relationships rather than being shoehorned in for a fan service. For players who prefer more substance in their games, this approach will likely be appreciated. So, should you play The Entrepreneur? Well, yes, we do not select just any games as our game of the month. Entrepreneur is an impressive visual novel that balances a compelling story with high-quality visuals. It offers a complex, character-driven narrative that isn't afraid to take its time developing relationships, all while treating the players to some of the best-looking renders in the genre. Though it falters slightly in the later stages with a rushed ending, the overall package is very solid. The game's meaningful choices, lovable characters, and engaging writing makes it a standout even in the crowded visual novel market. The good, unique character models and top-tier animations, meaningful choices that impact story and relationships, smart, witty writing with well-developed characters. The game is well-paced and doesn't drag out its story unnecessarily, it brings a balanced blend of romance, drama and humor. The not so good is the final chapters feel a bit rushed. The links to the game and the unedited version of the video is available on my Patreon. Please subscribe and I will see you in the next one.